Students, in today's class, I would explain about steps of project planning. So, we would talk about from a software development per se, because this subject is more towards it's all about software development. So, how do we design a software, and what are the different steps? How is project managed? That is all discussed in this subject. So we have a project plan. It's not that a project gets started all of a sudden and then it gets into execution phase. There are certain steps that needs to be followed. Okay. So let me start with an example of, say, ABC is a company. Say it's a bank. ABC is a bank which wants to get its software developed. So as a bank, they'll not have software developers, because they'll have bankers, they'll have cashiers, they'll have all the people who are expert in the banking domain, but they'll not have a software developer. They might have one or two people who know softwares, who can deal with people who develop softwares, but as such the entire team of developers will not be available by a bank, because why will they have it? Because anybody, say in a hospital will not have a team of developers of a software, because software development is an entirely different field. So these projects are outsourced to these projects are given to software development companies. There are many multinational companies which develop softwares, and there are many local companies also. We have so many startups in India these days. So what happens is, once these people give their softwares, the contract to develop a software, then the company, say XYZ company, which is into development of software, they develop the software. So before that, and the entire thing, how should the software look like, how many users should log in, their specifications, their scope, all these things are mentioned in a document and they are planned. So it's not like a very drastic development, it's a very gradual development, and then we have many softwares to plan the project development. For example, if XYZ company is developing a software for ABC Bank, so what will happen is, there are certain steps that are to be followed. The first step is, both the parties identify the stakeholders. Who are the stakeholders? The team of bankers who is involved in giving the project to the software development company. They are the stakeholders from the bank side. Then we have the stakeholders from the software development company side. So all the leadership from both the sides, and then we have the key developers also, because we need technical people to develop softwares, and it can't be like we develop a the team, when they go for negotiation, they have to involve few software developers also, who have their expertise, who can share their expertise with the bank and with their leadership also. So there are certain technical aspects which they discuss, and then they identify the key stakeholders, who is going to deal with from the banker side, who is going to deal with the deal from the software developers company side, and these are the stakeholders. And then we have, say, all the developers, and these are the people who would be involved in the software. So these are in the entire project. So these are the people. Now coming to the next thing, that is we define the roles and the responsibilities. Why would we define the roles and responsibilities? Because everybody should come to know who is going to do what. Once you have identified the stakeholders, it's not enough. Once the project management's, whatever the project is there, when that's decided, okay, these are the stakeholders, and then we have to tell that, okay, these people are going to get involved in development of the software, and this person is going to manage the software development team, so that the entire project runs smoothly. We have sometimes we have sponsors also of the project. I mean, who is going to pay for the project, and we have different roles also, like who is going to test the project, who is going to the quality team lead, the production development team, the development team lead. All these people meet. Okay, the roles are defined. Then they hold a kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting is usually a very important meeting, because in this meeting all the stakeholders come. They cast a vision for the project. They tell that, okay, we would complete this project with these specifications and all these things, and so they discuss like how to maintain the what's going to be the project look like, and what's like it's going to be. That's a basic meeting. It's not like all the specifications are not given in this meeting, but that's kind of a kickoff meeting wherein people meet and they discuss the basics. At this stage, the specific details of the project are not determined yet, so they should just include the discussions on the project scope, the budget, the timeline, and the goals to complete the project. Because they can't get into smaller nitty-gritties of what exactly these people have to do at this stage. They have to just understand the scope, the budget, and the timeline. Then comes the fourth point, that is the scope, budget, and the timelines are defined in the fourth point, that is in the step 4. So they'll come to know the scope of the project. What do we mean by the scope of the project? By scope of the project, we mean we can say that what exactly are we going to do? How many people are we going to cater? The exact scope is like what is going to be the bandwidth, how many people can use it at a time. If the software, if they're buying the software, they should know like how many people can log in at a time, and what is the budget, and when are they going to complete the project. So they'll say that, okay, we might complete this project in 1 year or 6 months, whatever time. Then as I've already told, budget is very important, because depending on the budget, the people will be hired. If the budget of the project is more, then they hire more people. If the budget of the project is less, then they hire less people. So now comes the scope. The project scope tells us what we are doing, when we are doing, and like as I've already told, first thing is scope, the budget, and the timeline. Scope is about the number of, it's just an example, it's like all the specifications come under scope, like how many people can use the project, how many software, how would it look like, then we define the budget, and then we give the timeline, and then we set and prioritize goals. Why do we prioritize goals? Once our team understands the objectives of the project, we will have to identify the phases to meet these objectives. The objective here is to develop a project for a bank, in my example. So software development, they have to develop a software for a bank. So this is the objective. So after that, what happens is, these people, they prioritize goals. They break down the big picture of the objectives into individual goals and tasks. So for example, if there are certain screens to be developed in the software, say we have 100 screens to be developed. So depending on the team, the and number of screens are allocated, and then we break the project. Basically we break the project into smaller goals and tasks, and then so that we complete and we can measure whether we are working on time or not. Then we prioritize tasks according to importance and dependencies. Few people, like it's in companies, they decide what has to be done first. Okay, so if the client wants certain screens to be developed first, then we develop those screens first, and then depending on the project, we prioritize these tasks. For example, we have 100 screens, so we broke the entire project into smaller tasks, and then we told, okay, now let us prioritize these tasks. Among those 100 screens, few of the screens might be needed at the earliest. So they prioritize, okay, let us develop these screens first, and then we'll develop the other screens. Okay. So now after prioritizing, we put the systems in place and ensure that the corrective action are taken place when the goals are not met. For example, if any part of the project is failing, then we have to take corrective actions. So we set that, okay, we set those goals over here also. Then comes the point number 6, that is, we define the deliverables. What do we mean by deliverable? A deliverable is defined as any unique and verifiable product, result or capability to perform a service that is produced to complete a process, phase or a project. That's a book definition. That's defined by PMI, that is Project Management Institute. Let us discuss about PMI later on. Now what I can say is PMI has defined the deliverables as any unique and verifiable product, result or capability to perform a service that is produced to complete a process, phase or project. For example, let us go with the same old example of banking project. The bank has given a project to the software development company. So now they break the project into phases. Okay, in phase 1 we will develop, out of 100 screens we will develop 10 screens first, and then we will develop the next 20 in the phase 2. So this way we define the phases. So a deliverable is a product, and it has to be measurable, whether we have completed this process, whether we have completed this phase of the project. So we check whether we define the deliverables. Okay, now team A, which is into development of these screens, should develop these screens before 12 o'clock on next weekend. By the time the next weekend comes, they have to complete the project. So most of them try to finish it. If they are not meeting it, then they stretch, the developers stretch, and then at least they have to meet the deliverables. Otherwise the project is termed as behind schedule, and it is behind schedule without any good result, any good reason, then it is considered to be a negative mark on the team that is developing the project. So in order to ensure that they are delivering their project on times, the project deliverables have to be delivered on times, exactly on time, because if they deliver a project later somewhere at some other time, then there is no point, because all these projects are, usually the software development projects are of high priority because they have to be implemented before the next competitors implements the project, because in banking industry they have this competition to implement software development project, because if they have a better software, then they can cater to the needs of the customers. So now this is about deliverables. So project deliverables are determined by the project objectives, and they are essential part of the project plan. So if the customer's objectives is to to manage its own content, then the deliverable might be to develop that piece of the software and hand over it to the customer. So this is about deliverables. Now coming to a project schedule. Project schedule is about making a schedule. A project schedule is a document that deals with the project timelines, the organizational resources required to complete each task, and any other information which is critical to the team that is mentioned in the project schedule. Okay, so now what do we mean by project schedule? Say the same example I am taking. Say we have 100 screens to be developed in a software. So it's not just the 100 screens, we have so many things behind it, like we have to join connect these screens again finally, and then we have to test it. So it's like we have to define a very well defined, we have to form a very well defined project schedule. So if we say that team A, which is developing software, we have say 5 teams developing different streams of the software, okay, and then we have 2-3 teams which are testing those screens. So what happens is we make a schedule so that the time can be the development time can be reduced, and as well as the resources, the testers, software testers don't remain idle for a long time and then all of a sudden they get out of work. It's not like it is not done like that. For example, we have 5 teams. Out of 5 teams, one team first develops a certain part of the project and then handovers it to the testing team. By the time they test this part, the next team will be ready to deliver the project to the testing team. So this way they schedule it. Okay, by Monday, by next 2 days we will finish the development by first team, and then the software testing team will test it for the next 2 days. In the meanwhile, the other team will also develop the other 2 screens. So they define a schedule so that the wastage of the time can be avoided. Once the schedule is defined, then comes risk management. What is the risk? A risk is a problem that may or may not arise over the course of the project. Still we have defined the schedule. Okay, we have told them that okay, we will complete the project at a certain time, and then we as a software company, we define the schedule and we have communicated the same to the client. And now comes the 8th point, that is we do the risk assessment. A risk assessment is a problem that may or may not arise over the course of the project. It is important to identify the project risks and mitigate them at the project planning phase. I mean, because there might be certain risks, like because if we don't, if we are not taking those risks into account, then all of a sudden, if the project, if the once the project starts, if we don't assess the risks before the project starts, then it becomes difficult for the people to, or the project management team to handle once the project gets start, and then if they come across any situation. So they identify the risks. So in case they say that okay, in case there is a failure from any technical failure, for example, the software development team is developing a project, and all of a sudden there's some virus that comes, and then it gets into all the 100 systems, and then it spoils the systems. So they make a calculation, okay, in that case what would happen. So the best thing is they try to assess the risks involved in each and every phase. They define the risk, like financial risk. For example, if the team which is, the financial risk is how many stakeholders, how many developers are working. Okay, so if these people are working, and so how much is, in case if somebody falls sick, then what is the financial impact on the project. Then we take the physical risks. In the software development, we do not have any huge physical risks, but yes, there are certain risks, like what happens if any developers goes on leave because of some medical reasons and all. So all those risks are calculated over here, and then we communicate the project plan. Once we as a software company, we have defined everything, we have designed the scope of the project, we know the budget, we know the timelines, we have delivered, we know the team, who is going to do what. Everything is set. Now we communicate the project plan. Once we have compiled the entire project plan, we make sure to communicate it clearly to the team and all the stakeholders. To whom do we communicate it? By stakeholders, I mean to say, even the client will come to know the schedule and all these details. So we communicate the entire plan to the stakeholders. So once the project communication plan, before that also before step 9, we create a project communication plan, wherein we will say that okay, this is the hierarchy, we have to follow this hierarchy, and then we have to deliver the project based on this hierarchy. Okay, so this is going to be the hierarchy. So the flow of communication is also decided. Who is going to communicate to whom? So establishing solid communication channels and expectations for project communications is crucial. So as a project manager, we have to be sure that the communication is clear, and it has to be and we have to understand what the stakeholder is asking us to. We have to understand basically what they are expecting us from us. So how do we do all these things? How do we define, do we think we can just by sitting, just in a meeting, can we define everything? Can we define the goals? Not only in the software development field, be it any project, do you think we will be able to just design a project and plan a project using pen and a paper? Yes, pen and paper can be used, but in order to track the team, in order to track the development of the software, we have so many software development projects. Like we have Primavera, we have, Microsoft has also developed one project development software. So there are so many project softwares that keep a track of the project. The other steps, like I've already completed this topic, but let me again talk about the project. Just recap it from a different point of view. That is, there are certain steps that we carry out. That is, we project the goals. We find out, we know the sponsor, we customers who are going to use the final project. Even they are like few of them can be used for testing. Just to take a feedback. It's not like they will be involved in development of the project, but their feedback usually about the project. And then we have these deliverables, then we schedule, and then we plan, and we say that okay, these are the human resources that are going to be involved in the project. These are going to be the number of people who are going to develop the project. These are going to be the people who are going to test the project. So once that is done, we communicate the project plan, we do the risk management part, and then in the risk management part we do time and cost estimation, we do unexpected budget cuts, we say we understand the unclear goals. If the goals are not clear, then what are the risks that are taking place, we have to understand. And then if the stakeholder is not giving any input, for example, if the bank goes on strike and say the key stakeholders of the bank are not available to give any comment on the project, then till what point can we delay the project? All these risks are calculated. If the development team is not able to understand the needs of the stakeholder, even that is very important. They have to understand. If they don't, then that's also one of the risks. And any quality issues, and if there is any commitment from the resources, if there is lack of commitment from the resources, there can be lack of commitment from the developers or the testers. So all these things are taken into account, and then we define a project. Then we define then we plan the project. Okay. So we prepare a project charter at the end of this thing. So when the project plan is basically, it tells like who is going to do what it is going to be done, where, why, how, when, and all these questions are answered in the project plan. The purpose of the project plan is to guide and execute the project and control the project in phases. Okay, we have a project charter. It provides a general overview of the project. It describes the project reasons, goals, objectives, constraints, stakeholders, and other aspects. Then we have statement of work. Statement of work is like scope, schedule, deliverables, milestones, and tasks. And then we have work breakdown structure, like we break down the project scope into project phases, sub-projects, deliverables, and then we have the project plan in place. The project plan is a document that is divided into sections to cover the following scope. The scope of the project. We have an entire project plan. Then we have the quality management, risk management. All these things are done in the project plan. So I have redefined it in so that you people can have a look. You can then understand it from a different point of view also. I just wanted you to understand it from not only from the software development point of view. I want you people to understand it in general first, and then we can specifically go towards the project from software development point of view, because this subject is about software development planning, but in general we do the first, we understand how the project planning is done, and then we understand it from the software development per se. Okay, so in case you guys have any doubts about any of these steps, please come back to me. Okay, so thank you. With this I will close this class. Thank you.